We're gonna call tonight's meeting to order. Tonight is the organizational meeting for the Board of Commissioners. So to begin the agenda, I will serve as the interim chair. So if you will please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then our invocation will be given by Commissioner Bill Osborne. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you with a thankful heart tonight, Lord, just thanking everybody giving us this day, Lord, and the blessings that goes along with it. We just pray, Lord, that you will give us guidance and knowledge to conduct our meeting, through our meeting in a way that will be most pleasant to you, Lord. With us and be with us, keep us safe and keep us healthy. We give thee all the praise and all the glory for these blessings I ask in Jesus' name.
Thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman, or interim chairman.
Motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. I vote. Next item is public comments. So, anyone in the audience who please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Bob Bamberg, and I'm speaking tonight as a private citizen and not a representative of the newspaper. I know the pandemic has curtailed all but necessary public meetings, including the joint town-county quarterly meeting. I want to encourage this board to not let this quarterly joint meetings fall by the wayside. They are too important to lose. While the county encompasses a larger landmass, Sparta is its only municipality. It is the only source of public water and sewer service, a crucial piece of any economic development plan. I believe it provides those services to all but one of our larger employers, and its availability was critical to attracting this new assisted living facility that is being built. Joint meetings were born out of crises, and there is no way of knowing how many crises have been averted because of those meetings. Relationships there have to be nurtured, and trust has to be earned to ensure the next crisis will be resolved. It's been said that Allegany's small size is its greatest weakness and its greatest strength. I believe that to be true, but it's not just our small size that makes us strong. We have capitalized on our small size to build relationships throughout the community that facilitate working together for common goals. Late John Woodruff served as school superintendent for 21 years and was one of the community's most influential leaders. During my first stint as editor of the paper, John picked me up and drove me to a project the school was doing that he wanted publicized. I took notes and snapped some pictures. We stopped off at Hardee's for a quick lunch before I returned to the office. Hardee's was packed. John Woodruff took the time to speak to every table. John Woodruff wasn't a great leader because he was school superintendent. He was a great leader because he nurtured relationships that helped him make great strides for this community. During this pandemic, I found myself quick to become suspicious and even be paranoid, but slow to realize that I was probably responding to how COVID had changed my world. The vaccine is successful in returning a sense of normalcy to our lives. I hope everyone will join me in renewing old relationships and nurturing new ones. Formal meetings are necessary and important, but this community's real power is realized when those formal meetings lead to good working relationships. The county has a relatively new manager, and Sparta has an even newer manager. County board has a new member. The town will possibly have a new council member, maybe two a year from now. This quarterly contact between these two public bodies is critical to our future. Let's be sure to hang on to it. I want to add an even more personal note. I quickly learned as a newspaper reporter, public service is more of an aggravation, more long hours, and short on glory. Even though I may be one of the ones aggravating you people, and don't ever, and even though we may disagree on subjects, I always respect someone that's willing to give their time in service to their community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor Wes Breniger, Town of Sparta, just coming to congratulate Michelle Uffman on welcome to the board, doing a good job, and also to say goodbye to Donna Shoemate, our county attorney for many, many years. You've done an excellent job, and we sincerely appreciate what you've done for our county. We wish you good endeavors on your next journey as district court judge. I come here to thank April Ham also and Rita Miller for all their hard work on the tax preparations and the CARES money with the town. We appreciate that. Everything good to go. Thank you for your diligence and your hard work. We appreciate that. My main concern here tonight is I got a memo from our contract that picks up our town garbage on the cardboard fee that has been instituted by the county, $75 per ton. This goes every week. Our contractor averages anywhere between 6 to 8 tons probably per week, if not more, during the Christmas season and tree season with our merchants here in town. That means that that's $75 per ton that's coming out of his pocket, and he's wanting us to compensate that. A few months ago, we had this discussion about recycling and doing away with recycling, and it was done away with, and we were told as the town to go ahead and throw the cardboard in with the regular garbage and all our recyclables and send it on down. Well, if we're going to charge for this cardboard, how does that apply to everybody? I mean, that's only going to go to certain ones or whatever, or the contractor himself where he picks up and does all these things, because he's coming out on the short end of the stick there, and I don't want to have to raise taxes on garbage taxes in the citizens of Sparta. They're taxed enough as it is, paying double tax in the county and the town. I'm just hoping that the county will somehow rethink this or explain to me the way that you see it happening, or any ideas or any suggestions on that, because I think we need that communication between the county and the town so I can talk to my contractor and talk to the business owners that are here in town. And not only do they serve the town, they serve the county also. So that's going to affect our merchants in town, and just would like for you all to consider that. I also want to come to you as the vice chairman of the rescue squad. I want to bring to your attention that we will be coming to you here in the next couple months with some statistics that show how desperate we need our rescue squad. Even though the funding has been cut from the county, I want you to reconsider that also, because right now, for 3 days in a row, the rescue squad has been on continuous standby after every call, because we're only running one medical unit. Don't know what the reason is for that or whatever, but we're asking our volunteers to do what other people are getting paid to do on a regular basis. These guys are volunteers. They leave their job, and when they go on standby, by bylaws, there are 2 of them that are supposed to be at the station on call, ready to go. And if we have an emergency or a rescue situation and everybody's tied up, we have nobody left. There is nothing. There is no third option. So if we've got a medic unit going to do transfers or whatever to Hugh Chatham, or from Genesis to Alleghany Memorial, our rescue squad has been on standby and continues to be on standby. And I'll be happy to bring you some more information on that later down the road. So just a couple things that I wanted to throw out there. But Mr. Carter, you're the interim commissioner or chairman tonight. If you want to just tell me or tell the folks out here a little bit about the cardboard deal, I sure would appreciate that.
What I can tell you is you are correct in what you have said about the county identifying to the town at that time to commingle that product. Now, what has happened over the last couple of weeks is, and I can certainly show it, but we actually have communication with DEQ tomorrow. I think we have a meeting with the town on Wednesday. So we're working to try and figure out, DEQ's aware of the situation.
Yeah.
They're trying to help us to come up with a way to correct that. So we have good cooperation with the state. In turn, we'll communicate that on Wednesday with the town and hopefully come up with a workable solution.
Sounds good. I do want to ask that we also take into consideration too, that we have a lot of folks that believe in that recycling, and if we can find something, a group maybe to take it over or find them a home to do that, I think it would be the best interest for the town and the county to keep that recycling option open for later down the road. But thank you for your time. Appreciate you guys. And again, Donna and Michelle, my greetings and salutations to you. So.
Anyone else in the audience like to speak? We'll close public comment time. Next item is the election of a board chair, and I will tell you that once we have a board chair in place, I will then turn the meeting over to the board chair to finish the items on the agenda. At this time, I would entertain a nomination for the board chairman for the.
I would like to nominate Bill Osborne for chairman.
Second.
A nomination, Bill Osborne. A second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 4. Congratulations, Chairman Osborne. The meeting is yours.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the board's vote of confidence here, I really do. I appreciate it, and we'll try to do as good a job as we can possibly do. So moving on, I'm going to open the floor for the vice chair nomination at this time.
I nominate Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
A nomination, Bobby Irwin, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. I vote. Okay, next on the agenda is appointment of the clerk to the board.
Mr. Chairman, does she have to be present?
Question.
Aware of.
Nominate Drew Temple.
Drew Temple, I'll second that. Got a motion, second, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. I vote again.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table the appointment of the county attorney to a date uncertain.
I second that motion. Any discussion?
Was
Sure.
the motion to the mid-month meeting?
No, we don't know if we'll have a final vote on the mid-month, so we're just tabling a date uncertain unless Her Honor states that we cannot do that.
Leaves us without an attorney right now.
Correct.
We have to appoint someone on an interim basis until we have permanent, I think.
An opinion from our current sitting attorney, judge-elect.
I mean, I think technically my appointment from last year ends at this meeting.
Can we?
Although my request had been at the end of October, at the end of November, but I agreed to serve through tonight, so.
We temporarily appoint you for the month of, for a continuance of how many days?
Mid-month meeting.
Month meeting?
I don't know what your school schedule is.
I'm in school this week.
Make a motion that we continue the contract with our current attorney until mid-month meeting plus 1 day.
I'll second that.
A motion
More
and a
like a
second.
sentence when you put it like that.
Don't forget that one day, right? Any further discussion? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0 again. Okay. If it's okay with the board, I would like to move the presentation of the board up to fall in line next, so we can, before we get into the reviews and revised board appointments. We'll let these people, they won't have to be here half the night. So if that's okay?
That's fine.
Uh,
No objection, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. We'll call on Alleghany Lives.
It's a privilege to be here tonight to address you gentlemen and to tell you a little bit about Alleghany Lives. I'm going to give you a real brief summary of our activities for about the last 12 years, real quick. We were first organized in 2008 after the suicide of a popular businessman here in Alleghany, Tom Richardson, who happened to be my second cousin. By the way, I didn't introduce myself, I don't think. Terry Johnson, cattle farmer, used to be a dentist for 52 years. One of the greatest privileges of my life to serve the fine people of this community and county. But at any rate, we were organized in 2008. 2019, approximately, we became a nonprofit organization which allows people to donate to us and make it deductible, tax deductible. We really don't spend very much money. We need volunteers more than money to carry out our various activities of education and community outreach. One of the things that we do in community outreach that's specific tonight is books in the library. We've placed somewhere between 40 and 50 books in the library on the subject of suicide and all aspects of suicide. To give you a little bit of idea of some of the books, one is Preventing Suicide, Handbooks for Pastors, Suicidal Thoughts in Women, Serious, Teen Suicide, Suicide, A Study in Sociology by Schneidman, Causes of Death, Adolescent Suicide, and then a book that we give in a basket to all families that are afflicted by this phenomenon of suicide, After Suicide Loss, Coping with Grief. It's an excellent resource for the families that are having to deal with suicide. In addition to the books in the library, we periodically place pamphlets in our various businesses and professional offices in Sparta and Alleghany. We have a website, AlleganyLives.com, which allows anybody with a computer to access AlleganyLives.com, and has a host of internet addresses that people can go on the internet and get all kinds of information, far more specific than what we're dealing with tonight. So it's a wonderful resource open to all. We host Sunshine Sunday, which is once a year. We have volunteers that go into the churches and speak for 5 minutes on what we're trying to do. The problem there is we have so few volunteers, we're not able to meet into very many churches, so we're actively seeking volunteers. In September of 19, we hosted a program called QPR, Question, Persuade, and Refer, taught by a public health professional. QPR has great promise for our county because what it says is question, persuade, refer. We're talking to people and they say, I'm not feeling so good today. Instead of saying, well, I hope you feel better tomorrow, say, well, can you be more specific? Can you tell me what the problem is? And ask leading questions. And if that person's genuinely in an emotional crisis, then help them find help, whether it's with a pastor or a physician or a psychologist or psychiatrist. QPR, we actually have an instructor that is being trained as we speak. I think she probably is already trained, Linda Simmons. And that will enable us to go into the community for Linda to give, say, an hour, hour and a half presentation to civic groups and to church groups. We've actively contacted about 20 of our churches, and everybody so far is willing to accept this program. It's basically an educational program, an outreach program in which we are reaching out into the community in a compassionate way. We want to just help people that are in trouble. And that suicide's basically a phenomenon of emotional pain. All of us carry burdens of suffering. None of us are immune to the pain and suffering of life and living. And by opening our minds and hearts to our neighbors, which I think you guys are all doing too as a unit, you're serving all the people of Alleghany County, and that's what we're trying to do too, is serve all the people of Alleghany County to make this a more friendly, compassionate community to live in. So the only thing that gives you a brief overview. Does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask me?
I just got a comment, Terry, for
Okay.
you, that Ron and I, being veterans, and know that there's roughly 22 veterans that commit suicide every day.
Yes.
While we're sitting here in this meeting, we've lost one, maybe two veterans by the time it's over with.
Yes.
Right now, we have a vacancy in our Veteran Service Officer. I feel that vacancy needs to be filled as soon as possible to help veterans, not just with suicide, but with other problems that veterans incur. But suicide is, if you look at one group, veterans who've given everything
Right.
to this country, and to lose 22 plus a day, like I say, while we're at this meeting, we've probably lost two tonight.
Correct.
In a couple of hours.
I've talked to the commander of the local veterans, Gary Adkins, and he's supportive of our group, and he would welcome also a presentation of QPR to our local veterans. Of course, the veterans do have an aggressive outreach program. It's available online to them specifically, but what we need is something locally. Now, one thing I do need to emphasize is that we're not a treatment facility or service. We're primarily an outreach and educational and informational service. But for people that are actually needing therapy, then we would be a referral service. So that's what we're primarily interested in. Being able to identify those people that need therapy is what we are hoping to fill that particular need. And what we need from the community is just volunteers. A little money helps, never hurts. But primarily volunteers. If we had volunteers that could go into our churches and community groups and just talk to the neighbors, be informed about what we can do, it could be a very beneficial service for us all. Any other questions you guys have?
Just a correction.
Okay.
Since we've had to shut down with COVID, the numbers for suicide with veterans has gone up to 24, and if this continues, they expect it to go significantly higher.
So the stats last night that in Japan, the numbers of suicides since COVID started are greater than the number of people that have died from COVID. And so, and this is...
So there are some of the, I'm Julia Simmons, I'm the current chair of the board. Hey, Terry. We have some of our board members are here. Would you stand up, please? Miller, and Warren Taylor, and Bob Bamberg. Debbie Brewer is here as a representative of the library. Yeah. We have a presentation to make, Terry.
Oh, my goodness, I didn't know about this.
I know, we know you didn't.
We didn't either.
So, part of our grand scheme tonight is to offer this dedication to Terry Johnson. The idea it was to gather these books. Collection library is
Give them all a big hand.
Very much so.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
I need to jump in here just a second before the next group comes up and back up and congratulate Michelle Luffman on her commissioner. She's the new addition to the board, and my manners was not in the right place somehow a while ago, but
That's okay.
anyway, I apologize for that mistake, but welcome you aboard and look forward to working with you, and also Mr. John Irwin, incumbent's back with us, and look forward to working with him. I appreciate you guys. Okay, sorry folks for the interruption, but we're going to move on now. Alleghany Health, update please.
Thank you. I'm Jim Hoekstra. I'm the Senior Vice President for Network Development for Wake Forest Baptist Health. Thank you for inviting us up to give a talk. I have with me Catherine Doby, who you may or not have met in the past. Catherine is the Chief Administrative Officer for Alleghany Health and is now essentially running the hospital, doing an awesome job. Kent Thompson from Hugh Chatham is here as well, and see a couple of our board members. I think it was about a year ago I was here, roughly, to talk about the medical office building that's being built. So I'm here today to give you an update about what's happening with that. I can show you some pictures, some floor plans, a little more detail than I showed last time, as well as introduce some changes that we've had to make. Let's just say that when the original office building and addition and reconstruction were designed, that was 2016. So we're talking about 4 years ago. And a lot has changed during that time period. So one of the biggest things that has changed during that time period is that wonderful thing we're dealing with so much right now, which is COVID. COVID has taught us a lot. And COVID has changed a lot of things in medicine. We've also had some changes that have happened to Alleghany Health as well in terms of volume shifts, the addition of Alleghany Family Practice to the family, a number of things that have happened there as well that have required us to take a look at that design that we did back in 2016, make some modifications. Let you know about what some of those. The next slide. So a couple things about what the pandemic has taught us. A couple of different things. Number one, telemedicine. We are now doing roughly 10 to 15% of our visits by telemedicine. Years ago, we were doing almost none. We have to be able to incorporate telemedicine into the design of our buildings and into our equipment plan and our clinic operations. So if you think about that, that's less people coming through the building, but more technology that we have to add. I'll also show you some other changes that we have to add because of telemedicine. A lot of dollars involved in that. There's also a lot of needs in terms of our waiting areas. Nowadays with COVID, you're not sitting down in a waiting area next to a bunch of other people that you don't know, right? In general, we're keeping our waiting areas free. The waiting areas we designed in 2016 were massive. They need to be about this small. So there's a lot of wasted space there we don't need anymore. COVID volumes are lower, not just because of telemedicine, but just in general. People don't want to come out. And then we're learning how to take care of people at home more than we used to. Volumes have gone. Look at our actual clinic volumes over the last 3 years. They've gone. It has made them go. That changes things. ED volumes are down, but the acuity is up. More people coming to the emergency department are being admitted. And more people coming to the emergency department being admitted means we still need to take care of sick people, but we don't necessarily have to have as much non. Also need badly and urgent. Incorporate that into this as well. We didn't plan that. Last thing, and this is actually something that's happening right now, is that COVID has hit us big in the last month or so. As we've seen, run a hospital in High Point, our numbers are double what they were 2 weeks ago. Catherine has the same problem here. Pandemics require us to have some flexibility of space, flexibility of inpatient beds, flexibility to be able to keep people when we can't move them. If I wanted to transfer somebody to Winston or to High Point or to Hugh Chatham right now, they take care of flexibility. All that put together, we're thinking, maybe we ought to rethink what we're doing. And so last summer, we got together with some architects and said, let's make a few changes. And the changes that we made are to deal with these changes here. Still going to have an MOB. It's still going to be big and beautiful. We're just making some modifications because we have to be conscious of the changes that are happening in medicine. Does that make sense? This is telemedicine. All the rooms that we designed in the new MOB, medical office building that we were going to put in, were 10 by 10. Guess what? Telemedicine doesn't work in a 10 by 10 room. You're on top of each other. You can't do it. All of our rooms needed to be increased in. Instead of 16 10 by 10 rooms, we now have 12 by 10 rooms. Okay? Volumes are down. Stability is up. Rooms need to be bigger. So we had to make some changes like that. It shows you how that works. You need room for 2 people to sit together, preferably even maybe 2 or 3 in a family, to be able to look at the screen or to be able to interact with the screen, in addition to the provider being in the room with them. So you just need more room is what it comes down to. Next slide. I'm going to go through some floor plans with you. To do that, I want to make sure everybody in the room is kind of oriented. This is a doctor view. This is the apartment entrance. Entrance over here. I guess our ORs are over here. Our radiology space is right here. Our outpatient, our inpatient is right here. Area. The Dalton wing. That's what we have right now. Changes we need to make. And I'm only going to be doing emergency department. We're going to increase the size of the emergency. We're going to have 3 observations all in one area where one nursing unit can solve it. That part is weeks. It will be breaking for part of it. A few. I guess it will. Plan out here. This is the plan. So doing, we were going to use. Decided it was going to be easier for us.
Step back over to the microphone.
Sure, be happy to.
All right.
We decided it was going to be easier to leave this in place because during a pandemic we might need it. We needed to have an area to do a sleep lab, which we didn't have in the old, so we kept this in place. This in place because we didn't need a big waiting area, but we need kind of an area that's a common area. We can use that for that. And then the Dalton wing right here is coming down, and that's where the MOB is going to be, the medical office building. We have kept demolishing this area, this area, this area, and we've kept all that. Saves us money, saves us time, don't have to demolish it, and we keep 7 beds in case we need them. Okay, 7 beds that we can use for inpatient in the case of a pandemic, we can use for sleep and not. We can use them for other office space or whatever we want to use them. We don't have to tear them down. Next slide. That's where the medical office building goes. We take down the Dalton wing, put the medical office building there. Okay. I'm going to show you the medical office building next. Next slide. This is the first floor of the medical office building. People will be able to walk right into the first floor. On the first floor, we want to put the things that people who have difficulty ambulating, walking, can get to, right? This is our PT, rehab, respiratory therapy, This is the place where people come in on walkers and come in wheelchairs are going to be going to for therapy. So they go straight into the area. This square footage and this plan are exactly the same as they were in the old plans. No change. Okay? But we've just moved it down to the ground floor. Next slide. Above it, this is the area that's changed a little bit. The waiting area is now relatively small. I might add it's going to be beautiful because it's totally surrounded by glass. But the waiting area is now smaller because we don't need as big of a waiting area. The clinic area is almost as big, but not quite. But the number of exam rooms has gone from 16 to 12 because we had to make them bigger. We still have procedural areas. We still have things like that. What we've moved out is office space because we moved it back up into here. And what we've moved out is what can best be described as providers as opposed to for clinic patients. Also, because of the location here, we can actually make this an urgent care because in order to get lab or x-ray, all they have to do is walk out to right here for the lab and to right here for x-ray. It turns it into an easy access urgent care that we would not have had in the other building. Added that capability. This space right here, a little bit smaller, but again, we moved everything up into this area to be able to make it smaller. From a clinic standpoint, just as much volume, just as functional, plus now we've added the ability to do urgent care. We're doing that urgent care hopefully even before this is building. Slide. This is what it looks like. So this is actually Doctor's Avenue, I guess, right here. The building way over here, that's the old main entrance. This is where your main clinic entrance is. You'll be able to walk in here to go to PT, rehab, or all those on the first floor, or take an elevator up to go to the clinic building here. Administration building stays. Some of the inpatient rooms are still right here. Okay, the old outpatient, or the old specialty clinic is still there. We won't be using it, but we can use it for the future. It's connected directly to the lab and x-ray. It's still a beautiful building, looks great, it's going to be very appealing, brand new, smell nice, people will like to be there. Slide. This is a ground floor view, the same thing, looking at it from downtown, I guess, from that general direction. Again, this is your waiting room, all the nice glass around it. This is the waiting room on the first floor with a walk-in and parking right out in front. Close-up of the same thing. Up over the top, walk-in entrance, waiting area, medical office building. Next slide. That's looking at it from when you first drive up the hill. This sign, by the way, is there right now. So that facade stays where it is. The medical office building is built next to it. Slide. This is where we are. Look at it, we're getting pretty close. So the ED. Phase 1 was completed in August. That means we have 4 ED beds, 3 inpatient beds, which we're presently using right now. So that place is open. It's beautiful. If you've been in there, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous emergency department. We are about a couple weeks away from opening the back half of that emergency department. So that first 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2, with the emergency department part are almost completely done. That's going to be great. We can take all the patients and move them into one area, take care of them with 1 nursing staff instead of 2. Should give us some economies of scale. This is just showing some of that renovation that was happening in that emergency department area. Now if you walk in the emergency department, it looks like you're in a brand new area. It's beautiful. Wing as of last week. For those of you who, I know it's gone now. It's completely flat. This was last week, right? Like last week. But if you drive by there now, the Dalton Wing is gone. So for anybody who's thinking, are those guys really working over there? Is there something happening? Trust me, there's something happening. The Dalton Wing is gone. And that's where the medical office building starts. And so if you look at our medical office building construction, it's probably going to be, the destruction's happening now, the construction going to be starting around the first of the year. A great time to do outdoor stuff, but anyway. We're due delivery on time about to November. So a little bit less than next year at this time, we're hoping it's open and people are coming in. And it should be done. And excited about it. We're on time. It's moving. So I would ask if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions?
Good.
Just for clarification on the total number of beds that you're going to have available for patients to stay here. Notice you've got 4, then you've got 3.
So we've got 3 inpatient beds, got 4 observation beds, and we are leaving in that hallway that we were going to demolish, but now we're not, 7 what I would call emergency or as you need them, or in case of change in plans, beds that we can use.
Was that a total of 11?
11.
And let's see, okay, 11 beds. Right now, can you treat a COVID patient?
That's not 7 plus 7, 14.
14.
My math ain't that quick.
Right now, can you treat a COVID patient, isolate them?
Do it today.
What will be the total number of employees full-time that you look to have when you finish the project?
Probably about the same number we have now, but they will be redistributed. So right now, we have more people on the hospital side and less people on the outpatient side. But as this moves forward, we're going to need more on the outpatient side and less on the hospital side. We'll be shifting some people. Think about it, the entire operation is changing from an inpatient orientation 20 years ago to an outpatient orientation now. It doesn't require less people, it just requires people to do different types of work. We are still hiring. Matter of fact, we're hiring right now for people to be working in the outpatient side. We're hiring people for the clinic. We just brought on Alleghany Family Practice. That's 5 providers in a clinic that has, 9 rooms. That's got to be fit in that building. We need to change some of the people that we have taking care of, people on the inpatient service at night into. We don't anticipate we're going to downsize the staff. We're just going to change.
What is the total number? Is it 60, 70, 100?
I don't even know the numbers right now. Do you know? Can you tell us, Catherine? Ballpark?
It's by with PRN.
Time people. FTEs is full-time equivalents, so you have 70 full-time equivalents, but 120 people you actually employ.
Full-time, 120?
No, full-time 70,
70.
120 total. We talk about bodies. A lot of people don't work full-time.
50 part-time.
Memory serves me correct, the total beds is double since last time you guys were here, like 6 or 7.
That's the COVID thing. We just need to have that flexibility for the future. We just don't know.
It's a good thing to hear.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
It is. We,
Just having to demolish an area that's pretty useful.
I'd just make one comment for you. I love the drawings. I love the way that it's going to look. Unfortunately, I get to visit that hospital about every other year with kidney stones. I'm so glad to go there and have that pain taken away. But what pleases me even more is most of the people that I know have gone to either Surrey Community College or Wilkes Community College, and a lot of them are from this county that are employed there. Yeah. And that makes a big difference. I appreciate that.
And that's our commitment to, that's why we're here. When we started doing this 5, 6, 7 years ago, I started up here in 2014 working with Alleghany Memorial Hospital at that time. Our goal was to make sure that we are able to keep health care here local for employment reasons and for access reasons. And that's why we're here still.
I hear a lot of comments about urgent care. People will appreciate that when that comes together. And, I hear a lot of good comments about your specialty clinic, which I visit that myself, and that's a big plus for you guys.
Will your urgent care, will it partner with most major insurances so people that have like a copay will be able to walk in there and access the urgent care?
after hours, okay? Now we have an urgent need practice, or you we might rob a little bit from our own emergency department, but I'm assuming the people.
Folks have certainly put together a good plan there, and it'll treat Alleghany well. Certainly appreciate your program.
Since I'm on the first name basis in the emergency room, I really appreciate it. I am. Just that the government doesn't pay that well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we got to back up here now and review and revise board appointments.
We're back into the boring part if y'all want to leave.
Let's see. Let's see if we can walk down through here. Alleghany Advisory Board, Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
Committee, yeah, I'll stay there.
In the room.
Our electric bill.
We're good.
I'll stay.
Bobby's going to stay on that one. Alleghany County Public Library, I'll stay on that one. Group Homes,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to take that one from Mr. Larry Prince. I have a lot of experience with that.
Appalachian District Health, Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
Stay there.
Blue Ridge RC&D Board, that's myself, and I'll stay with that. Council on Aging, Commissioner Irwin. John?
Well, I'm picking up one. I should lose one. If someone else wants that, that's fine with me. If not, I'll keep it.
Bill, would you be interested?
Michelle?
Michelle?
Michelle, going to take that one?
Yes, sir. Court Security Committee, Commissioner Mark Evans and Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
I'd like to stay.
Mark doesn't want it, I'll take it.
All yours, brother.
Sir?
Ask a question. If you recall back earlier in the year, in addition to this one, we also had a courthouse renovation committee. I believe Commissioner Bobby and Commissioner John also served on that. Well, we're ramped up on that, and that may be a good dual role committee if that's acceptable to the.
That was an ad hoc committee, wasn't it,
Was.
basically?
It was, but it's going to be one that we continue with this year anyway.
Join them, put the two together.
Yeah, stay.
Fine with me. You all have got farms, you've got jobs. I'm retired to die, so I got plenty of time.
I've got the time to do it, too.
Yeah.
Court Security Commission, that's one wrong now. John and Bobby, right?
Irwin twins.
Irwin Twins, AKA the Irwin Twins. Extension Advisory Leadership Council, Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
I'll stay. We haven't met this year, with COVID, but I'll stay in case we do meet.
Fairgrounds Board, Commissioner Bobby and myself. I'll stay with that one. Fire Commission, John Irwin.
Bill, if you want that.
Oh,
You're a retired fireman, I'm not.
I'll take that one.
Want that?
I'll take that, and I appreciate that. Moving on to the second page, High Country Council of Government, Mr. Mark Evans.
I think we're actually working from an old list here. We're actually on that. Hope you've been.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we have. Well, I don't know how your names are, but anyway, yeah, I have. It's all been virtual, but I've been there. Yeah.
Bill, you got that one?
My Country PRO Advisory Committee, Larry Prince. Okay, appreciate that. That'd be Michelle. My Country Workforce Development, Commissioner Evans.
Let me give it up, I'll take it.
That goes with the chair role too. Those meetings. Contacted by you.
I thought you was on that Workforce Development. Is
While
that,
y'all arguing about,
let me ask one question. Is that a position that the chairman has to do?
That's how it was historically. I don't know that it has to be that way to make certain, but
If the chair don't have to be, I'm on this other one up here, and we'll check it out tomorrow, but if it doesn't have to be the chairman, and Commissioner Irwin wants it, that's fine with me. If,
let me know.
check it out tomorrow with the council of government up there. Home and Community Care Block Grant Advisory Committee, Mark Evans. Of course, Mark Evans. Juvenile Crime Convention, Mr. John Urban.
actually I'm serving that one.
Okay, wait a minute.
There again, this list is from a couple of years ago.
Apparently. So, Michelle.
Evans was, Michelle was interested in that one because I thought I was on it. Nobody ever called me. We haven't met in the last year,
Never
so
met.
either way.
But if you want
Oh,
it.
you're fine.
We don't want to ask for,
We did a little horse trade over here, but he didn't have a horse for sale.
didn't have a horse trade.
You can fix him up on that.
There you go. There you go.
Chairman, I'll point out there are actually two board members listed on the email listing. That's Commissioner Evans, and I don't know how that came about, but if you look at the email listing, both of you are on there.
I thought I passed it on to Mark.
I thought Mark passed it on to me.
I'm the one that's actually listed as one of
I hadn't
them, and
been.
have been.
I mean, nobody called me. I
Pending.
wasn't calling to see if they were meeting.
So we're good with Mark right there on the Ecpc. Wilkes Community College Board of Trustees, Ricky Brown, Susan Murphy.
They are multi-year appointments, and I think we don't have anybody coming up.
They're on for another couple of
A
years.
couple of years. Alleghany Chamber of Commerce Board, that's been Larry Prince.
That board's gone away, hasn't it?
Don't know. Is the board, is the Chamber of Commerce Board? Okay. That starts in January 1?
That's what we're hoping, we're still working.
Chamber of Commerce then. You'll take that? Okay. Local Emergency Planning Committee, Mark Evans and John Irwin.
You get that one because you're a fire commissioner now.
You're actually getting it twice because that's a chairman role.
Vi Health Advisory, Commissioner Bobby Urban.
That's John's on that committee.
John's on that.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Continue with it.
Western Regional Housing Authority, that's David Choate.
It's a multi-year appointment. I believe we just reappointed him this
Last time,
year.
yeah. I spoke with him today, and he wants to carry that on, so. Northwest Regional Library Board, it's been myself. If somebody else wants that, that would be good. If not, I'll carry on. Okay. Be Michelle. Partnership for Children Board, that's Mark Evans. Mark stays. Social Services Board is Larry Prince, has been.
I'll do it.
We'll take that if nobody wants it.
No, go right ahead if you want it.
She spoke up, but
No.
we're good over here, Michelle.
Okay.
Good with that? Our Revitalization Committee, that's myself. I'll stay there to let, whatever. Stay with that one. Virginia Carolina Water Authority,
Continue to take it.
Commissioner Irwin and County Manager.
Manager.
Okay. Stays the same. Veterans Advisory Board, Commissioner Evans and Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
I'll stay.
That's what your paper says.
My paper says.
But I think we'll go back to last year's meeting.
Okay. So John, or Bobby's gonna stay on.
Yeah.
Okay. Joint Committee with the School Board, Commissioner Mark Evans and Commissioner Bobby Irwin.
I'll stay. We haven't met in a year plus COVID.
Stays the same. Planning Board,
That's Travis Dalton.
stays. Board of Equalization and Review,
That's us.
that's Rita.
Old finger.
She's stuck on it. You can't
She's
get off.
stuck on it, that's right. Okay. That concludes that. So, rules and procedure. I'm not going to read all this.
Motion to approve.
Everybody can read through it on their own. If they have any questions, we can debate it. So we got a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a comment I'd like to make. On page 8. Line on the agenda. Something I don't feel like we handling very appropriately is the way the current rules are written. Any board member can have anything added to the agenda, which I'm okay with that. I think if we're going to have an item added and it's going to require the presence of someone coming to this board, I think that we as a board should have a conversation and have a vote. The majority agrees, and then what we're having them to come for. Instead of just having one individual member make a request to have somebody come and represent an outside organization without the board having a conversation first.
That's a good point to be made. Something we want to move on tonight.
Need the motion to table then, because we'll have to rewrite it.
Well, we couldn't,
Get the language.
if everybody's okay with it, make the motion to approve with those recommendations and then approve it, document it, wording of it. I didn't make the motion, so I can't do that.
We got two choices. We can table it, or somebody can make that motion. The mid-month meeting. So,
A
I'd
motion.
like to see the language. I'd move to table so that we can see the language.
have a motion?
Have a motion.
He made a motion right in the beginning.
Okay, good.
I'll modify my motion to table until the mid-month meeting, contingent on the addition.
Got a motion to table till the mid-month. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion is a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. How about table that till the mid-month? Anything else on rules and procedures? Moving on down to general business. I think we've got everything up here. Around a good bit. General business, the holiday calendar.
Chairman, I'll address that. You have a 2020 calendar in your packet. I now have the 2021 schedule on the screen. I think I passed that out additionally. But I think for clarity, I would ask the board consider adopting, this is the State Department of Human Resources holiday calendar, and I would ask that the board consider adopting both the remainder of 2020 and the 2021 as presented.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0 again. Up to 2021 schedule of values, page.
We've had our public meeting. Everything's on the go. I'll make a motion that we accept it, sir.
You've got a motion. Here a second. I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Ecpc board appointment. Plan. Finance officer.
A motion on that? So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to appoint April to the JCPC board. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Telephone contract update, county manager.
Chairman, I think best I can remember, we've been working on this since either before September or right around that September date. Extremely complicated issue. I don't know that we wouldn't be better off to table this till a mid-month meeting, possibly where the county manager could do some more checking and break down a little bit better how this contract will affect the county government. It's just a suggestion, but I think
Mr. Chairman, we've approved that contract. We're moving ahead. We're getting an update. As far as I'm concerned, this is finished.
What I would like to mention, and we actually have a couple in the room today that have been testing and doing various things, and I think the consensus is we're waiting for a complete compilation. As Commissioner Bobby Irwin stated, it is very technical, and some of the ways that, as it's been described to me, some of the current configurations are questionable, I guess, to be polite. And some of the reviews that have taken place today, and in speaking with the individual who submitted, I hope to have more information regarding any possible reduction or addition to that agreed upon pricing later in the week. And I too would ask that we allow that information to come in. We have two individuals here, like I mentioned. I don't think they will disagree with me at all. We've had conversations on and off today, and we want to do what is right for the county as well as those it serves. I think by bringing this to your mid-month meeting with a final accounting of everything would prove beneficial to us all.
Very well. Appreciate that update.
What's brought this about, Mr. County Manager? Are they finding that circuits out there that we weren't aware of?
It ranges differently from the way the current configuration in some of the facilities are. It also has some bearing with the way that some phones are actually shared in the county, which personally I didn't know that, but I've been made aware that there's actually a handful of people who share a phone line in some places. And as we discover these things, I think we need further clarification. And again, these guys have been completely cooperative, and they actually brought in a phone today and tested it, and true to fact, you plug it in the wall, it works just like it should. We just want to work out any of the intricacies that are still there.
Take it that part of this problem is presenting itself is because we do not have an IT person and no one knows what we've got where.
I cannot disagree with that. It is,
In the world of computers, you have no one that knows what we've got or how it's hooked up. In the county.
there are individuals who, yes, by no other means, have had things done by a host of different providers. You don't have a central, so we really need to bring this all together. That would be my recommendation.
So are we going to be getting a revised contract, or?
I don't have a contract. We have not signed an agreement. We are getting further clarification on some of these newly identified occurrences.
Will we be getting a contract? I mean, by contract, or?
It will be first by clarification from the submitter to verify what has been found, if everything is still on, the same scale, if there are additions, what those would be, if there are subtractions. Just as easily as there have been identified some offices that are sharing phones, there are also some phones that are more than what the number of people in those departments are. So we're trying to really bring that in and tighten that up so that we're comparing apples to apples more so than just tossing.
So whenever we went out with our RFP, we said we want X amount of phones,
Yep.
things of this nature. Now we're finding out that number that we said that we needed is not exactly accurate.
Now, that number was accurate with what the reporting was. Where the differences are is some of these, we didn't know that people were sharing phone lines. Where does that show up at? That is an individual thing.
Paying for one phone number.
So we're just trying to make it right in what we do. And these gentlemen, they certainly want to help us do that as well. They're not here to make it any other thing than right themselves. So I appreciate them being here and supplying us with that information.
We didn't know. I'm going to use an example so that I can get it right in my mind. Department of Social Services, there's a phone in a room, but there's 4 desks and they're sharing that phone.
That's a scenario. It's not.
That's a scenario that could be out there.
Could be. Or the opposite of that is there could be 3 people in an office and there's 6 phones in there.
Make a motion to table until mid-month.
They made the motion.
I'll second
We have
it.
a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. I vote. Third quarter sales tax update. Mr. Carter over there.
And I'm shuffling. So basically what this is just information for the board for your sales tax. So to give you an idea, in 2018, through the July, August, and September months, a collection amount of $63,663.19 was recognized. The same July, August, September of 2019, $68,094.45. Here in the year of the pandemic, 2020, July, August, and September sales tax is $70,682.46. When you do the comparisons, the 2020 3-month number is $7,019.27 over your 2018 number, and it is $2,588.01 over your 2019 number. So I don't know what to attribute that directly to. I know that there's been a lot of goods that's flown off the shelves. It looks like that we're on track at this point to meet our goal within our budget.
Certainly good news.
Everybody's ordering online, and we get the sales tax. Instead of running to Elkin, West Jefferson, Galax, or North Wilkesboro, they're ordering it online, and we get the sales tax, and the other counties don't, and they're probably crying.
News, it keeps increasing, Bobby.
The online sales tax, some companies you order from say you have to include the tax. Some companies don't include a tax. How do we know? Is it done by zip code? How do we generate that money from the state? Who pays the sales tax? It doesn't come to Alleghany County directly from eBay or whatever. Let's go to Raleigh, and then they dish it out to us.
Well, I would love to answer you intelligently at this point, but I'm going to have to find that answer out and report back to you. I don't know that answer.
I'm just curious how Alleghany gets that online sales tax. Some companies charge, some companies don't charge.
I'll find that out and have it for you.
Moving on down, county manager's comments.
The first one, you have the November building inspection report on page 16. As always, I encourage you to look at that and understand what's going on construction-wise here in the county. What I want to focus on is the facilities update. And bear with me for just a moment. And I know that's really hard to see, and if I blow it up, it really won't do a whole lot of good. But what I want to talk about first is the old Council on Aging facility. And if you recall, bids were approved. We have a contractor now who has started actually today. It's his first day in there. All the permits are in place. They are beginning the demolition inside to convert that into our new court facility. I have a copy of this that I'll pass out to everyone that you can actually take and read. But what is on that screen is basically a schedule from the contractor identifying days and how many days doing this and completion date. And the one thing I want to point out that I can read by looking at it here is the key component in all of it. You recall we're under a March 1 deadline. That's when we have to have this facility up and running, and this schedule guarantees that. So there will be a lot of work going on in between now and February the 25th or 6th, I think, on this schedule. And I'll get you a copy of that to where you can see it in more detail. But that project's underway. So that's one you can check on. That's now moved from thought to activity. Next one, we've talked about the existing tin portion of the roof on the courthouse for some time. And the engineers, I have REI engineering firm taking care of that. They have the final design in draft, and we'll likely have those preliminary drawings to me next week. So I'll have that version in front. They do, and weather's been part of the problems. Part of that process, as you recall, involves some abatement of some of the material on the existing tin. So they have to complete the sampling of that, which they feel like they can get to in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how the weather reacts to that. In all reality, if we get all of that in a perfect scenario, I would see us probably being out to bid in the mid-January range. We all know what mid-January means. Weather is a factor. If we get great weather, that roofing could likely be in place sometime mid-March. Keep in mind that is one of the more weather-dependent projects that we have going on right now. So, coupled with that, if you've been material that was abated with the moisture concern, I have not had that put back yet, because I do not want to put that back and then have to tear it back out should this roofing solution not correct the issue. That has not been a problem. I've communicated that clearly with the court system. It's just an aesthetic kind of thing right now. Next one is the earthquake damage to the courthouse. And that project is right now out for bid. We are having a pre-construction meeting on December the 17th at 11 o'clock inside the courtroom. The repairs to the courthouse in this capacity is going to be somewhat different because it will involve a lot of mortar and repair work to mortar. So it's almost more of a specialized reconstruction process. I know that there are 3 contractors right now that are interested in it and plan to be at that meeting. So hopefully, after the pre-construction meeting, we'll get a better understanding of that. Talk about exterior. When we're talking about the inside of the new court facility, that's all interior work. The roof, exterior work. We've got a lot of exterior work on this courthouse. You're doing these mortar repairs, you really need that temperature to stay above 40 degrees. Again, we're going into the wrong time of the year to do this, but that's where we're at. Now, they can bring in all these nice little heated blankets, and they can cover the courthouse, and they can make it look all nice, warm, and cozy. But when they do that, your price tag goes up. And when I say goes up, I mean substantially goes up. So again, some of these things are going to be weather dependent. Worst case scenario is to have all of those repairs, both internal and external, on the earthquake done mid-May. That's our worst case scenario. So to kind of put it in perspective, we're in the almost mid-December. So the next 5 to 6 months is going to be a really busy project construction time here in Alleghany County. I expect to have all that done, and the final thing will be repairing the interior for the moisture abatement. So I would say my goal is by end of June, we have all of this completed and off our list. A very long, difficult process, but I believe we're there. Has any questions about those?
The completion date on the old COA, you said, was February the 1st of March.
March 1.
March.
Again, I've relayed all this to the court system, and they seem to be happy as they could be about that.
When we first started this with the judges and everything, we've been through a half a dozen different drawings of what they wanted, what we could afford, what finally we came up with. Has anybody signed off on this final plan that is, this suits the judges, this suits the court system? The worst thing I don't want to see happen is we spend all this money, everything fixed up, then a year from now they say, wait a minute, that's not what we wanted. I would feel a lot more comfortable if somebody okayed the final plans from the court system.
We incorporated all of their suggestions, all of their recommendations, and all of their ideas. Now, keep in mind, the second floor of that old COA, the only changes to that is going to be the restrooms. I feel like that we have met in our plans what the court system was looking for.
You don't believe we need something signed off on?
Certainly do that, but I like that we are there. I think we have taken their ideas, we've taken their guidance, we've applied that to a set of plans. If we need a formal signature from someone affiliated with the courts, I can certainly arrange for that.
I would ask our current sitting attorney what her thoughts are, considering she's going to be in that building as a sitting judge on down the road.
I'm going to be happy if I don't have to sit 5 feet away from the opposing party and have a dog lick my ankles during a custody case.
We can accommodate that.
Because that's what I've had to do before.
Okay, moving on. Are we finished with the,
Just a couple other quick points. Talked about the animal shelter at a previous meeting about some of the non-compliance items there. We have ordered a lot of the materials needed to complete that, and we're underway of getting that back up to an acceptable facility. I monitored the bottom door at the courthouse. It's a security door. It has a control panel. It's been acting up. We're actually having some people look at that tomorrow. It's separate from any of these other that I've been talking about, but I like that we can get that. One last manager comment. A while back, the county applied to the Golden Leaf Foundation for a few projects. I have only heard back on one at this point, and it was for the project for the EMD 911 application, and unfortunately, it did not make the cut. So that is where that's at this point. Those are all the comments I have.
a quick question on the old courthouse, the Sallyport, that's still in the works? Outside that building over there?
A somewhat of a sally port. See, that is something that I am in hopes, and I've said it before. We've done everything we could to eliminate any surprises that may result. But I think that we need to get through some of this completely before I sit here and tell the world that is included. It is planned. I want to get through some of the more major portions of it to be able to accurately answer that question.
Okay. All the manager's comments. Going on down, county commissioner comments. Commissioner Evans.
Actually, I got one question on the obvious point, signing off. I know there's really no official person probably to do that. I am curious, just from my knowledge, when you say we've taken all of their ideas and thoughts into consideration, who's who all was included into the thoughts behind
Duncan, isn't it those?
from law enforcement, judges, all that would.
Clerk.
I just wanted to clarify that all was in that. Thank you. I really don't have a whole lot of comments. I would welcome our new commissioner. Got a lot of congratulations on Facebook today, and I'll give you my condolences and congratulations, and welcome Commissioner John back with us. Everybody has a safe and healthy Christmas, holiday season, Christmas, New Year's. COVID is really, the numbers is really bad out there, so just try to stay safe and stay apart and wash your hands. And
I'll start off congratulating Michelle, then John coming back, congratulations. Anna, it's been a long road that you've been here, and I can only tell you how much I appreciate your guidance over these, 15, 16 years. You're going to be sorely missed, but I'm sure you'll do a great job as a judge. I hope I never see you professionally, but I hope to be there when you get sworn in. Being the first elected judge from Alleghany County, I think that speaks highly of you, but it also speaks highly of the people of Alleghany County. They're as proud of you as you are of yourself, and I really appreciate everything that you've done. Over the last week or so, I've had into the grocery store and had several comments about the trash dump, the cardboard being the charges on it and the time period for Saturdays. I think we're open at 7 and close at 12 or something. There's been some questions about the possibility of extending some of those hours on Saturday. I'll just look forward to your usual research. You've done it in the past. I think that's something that wouldn't hurt to look at as we go along with those charges. On the cardboard and on our recycling, Wes, I think you're right that the recycling is something a lot of people in the county look for and like to participate in. I would invite the county if they may want to take over the recycling. They've got the people, they could hire a few people to run the recycling, or possibly find an individual who wants to get into that business. As we've been told for the last year and a half, a lot of communities are going out of recycling because there's no money in it. Maybe the town could look at doing it. Maybe it's possible the town could find somebody, an individual, to start a new business in the recycling. I would encourage the town to look at that, see what they can do. I do like the meetings that we have with the town and the county commissioners, and I know that for whatever reasons the town's had to cancel our last couple of meetings, and I think it's obvious that COVID has changed a lot of the ways that government does business. It's changed the way that individuals do business, but I think that we need to get back to that openness where we can bounce ideas off of each other, and I just look forward to that day coming back. That's all.
Thank you, Bobby. I'd just like to echo the same sentiments about the cardboard and invite the town to look into that also, if that works out that way, to recycle. And recycling is a good thing. It's just not economically feasible at the present time. But that said, I'd like to address the COVID-19 a little bit and trust everybody had a safe Thanksgiving. As Commissioner Evans mentioned, the numbers is moving north about every day. Death rate's going up. It's a serious problem, but I hear a lot of comments about wear a mask, not wear a mask. My take on wearing a mask is just like a car engine. There's air filter sitting on every one of them motors, and it's there for a reason. Keep the air clean going into that carburetor. When that carburetor gets dirty, it stops. We're sort of a motor the same way. We can't live without all these parts, you know, and I think it's a good thing to wear when you're outside, especially in populated areas. I think it's a self-reasoning solution that something is better than nothing. It's not 100%. Something is better than nothing. That's my take on the mask situation. Commend the hospital on the job they're doing. That's looking real good over there. I've been over there a few times last week, and they're moving right along. I feel like that's a well thought out process they've put together over there, the way they're going about that. Recognize Donna for all her hard work through the years and ability to crack a good joke every once in a while. I enjoy that. But we certainly appreciate what you've done and your contribution to the county. Certainly do. From me, Michelle.
I would like to thank all of my fellow board members for a warm welcome to the board, and Mr. Mayor. And I would like to also congratulate Mr. Irwin here for his reelection. And just want to echo what everyone has said about COVID. It seems like everybody was really serious about it right around April, May, and but, you know, people really paid a lot of attention and were really concerned about it. And as this time has gone on, we've just kind of let that wane, and now is not the time to let that wane. We need to be as vigilant, if not more vigilant, than we were back then, because I fear that being indoors and being together for family gatherings, we can see some tragic situations occurring in our county, losing our family members, our neighbors, our friends, members. Please continue to remain vigilant and
Mr. John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to to our favorite county attorney. She served long. She served well. Now she doesn't have to put up with me. Michelle, God bless you, because now you do. Congratulations. First thing I'd like to start off with is to clarify something. Last meeting I said that I had requested some information from the Alleghany County Economic Development Committee, and it had not been provided. Unfortunately, due to an administrative error, the Alleghany County Economic Development Committee had provided the information in a timely manner. So I was incorrect in that. Now, one statement that I need to clear up. If you have a 501c3, you have a requirement to have an annual meeting for the election of officers. Now, North Carolina statute does not take that charter away if at annual meeting it does not take place. So they have had their annual meeting now and elected people. But one thing in the letter that I find very interesting, and this is something that this board needs to look into, we need to be aware of. We can't look into it. Whenever we authorize 501c3s to do county business, so to speak, we lose control as county commissioners. They're an independent entity. Just like an individual, they can own property, they can buy property, they can do whatever they want. And looking at the bylaws for the BDC and the Alleghany County Economic Development Committee, there's no requirement that a committee member from the Board of Commissioners be on these boards. They set up their bylaws, they set up their boards, and they do business independently. And this is what, I'm going to give you an example of what we've got. And I'm going to read, quote, from the letter of August 6, 2020. In 2000, the ACEDC applied for a USDA grant that funded a sewer line extension to the Alleghany Group Home. This is an active loan from ACEDC in which the group home makes an annual payment each August. Balance of the loan is $14,286.54 and will be paid in full in 2026. Through the repayment of this loan, ACEDC has a fund balance of $72,992.12. So they owe on one loan $12,286.54. They've got $72,000 plus in the bank, almost $73,000. And the Alleghany Group Homes continues to make a payment in August. Why they don't pay off the loan? It may be against the USDA that says that they can't prepay it, but that's the only thing they've got going. We cannot influence anything. If you started looking at the board members, same board members are on the Alleghany County Economic Development Committee, that are on the BDC, the same names keep on showing up. We turn everything over to them. Do the loans. In this case, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing illegal. It's just that county commissioners, we are giving up control of things of this nature. So we got a large balance, small loan, that's the way it is. In the future, I hope we take this into consideration. We don't need to take our workload and put it into a 501c3. Now, on a good note, Senior Officer Nathan Cox, possum cop in Alleghany County, has been chosen as the National Wild Turkey Federation Officer of the Year. Will be considered for the the Officer of the Year nationally. Well, that's some good news. My wife likes to call him a possum cop. John Wishon was the Abbott Sheriff. So, congratulations, Nathan. We wish you the best nationally, and hopefully I'll be able to announce that winner right there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Have a request for a closed session meeting.
Mr. Chairman, may I make one more comment? When Commissioner Bobby Irwin was talking about the transfer facility and the hours, not on your agenda, it will be on your mid-month agenda. There has been a request, and I have to get my calendar out to make sure, but Christmas Eve, which is the 24th, which is a Thursday, is the evening that the transfer facility stays open until 7 p.m. There has been a request for the board to consider, and I'll ask you at your next meeting, to allow that facility to close at 5 that day so that the families can be together at a more appropriate time on Christmas Eve.
You're going to ask for that at the mid-month meeting?
It wasn't on your agenda. It is an action item, so I don't want to violate anything.
That'd be on the 21st.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I could, the reason why I was asking you those questions, Mr. County Manager, is I was having flashbacks. Whenever we went out, the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing deployed for the first Persian Gulf War. I was the base communications chief. I went out and I got medevac before the war started, so I came back and was sitting at my desk whenever the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing came back. All the phones had been shut off, everybody was gone. And I had flashbacks because whenever they came back, they started jerking wires and everything else all over the daggone place. Problem that we've got in this county, nobody knows what we've got. And I just went back to that, where we had telephone lines where units came back, spliced them together with Scotch tape, and every night the switchboard would run a troubleshoot on the lines, and we would have a daggone trouble list as long as your arm trying to take care of it. But, that is one of the problems. If nobody has kept up with it over the years, we don't know where these circuits are. We don't know where they are. We know right now from the county manager and I going over to the equipment room at the BDC, there is a high-dollar battery backup system that's sitting there with the batteries dead. It's not even hooked up. And I mean, this is major money in the day. So we're going to have to get a handle on this because the computers are going to be more and more vital to the county business in the future, especially if we keep on with this pandemic. So my apologies if you thought I was grilling you, Mr. County Manager, but I was having some serious flashbacks.
And I enjoyed the whole item, Commissioner Irwin.
Thank you. You're a glutton for punishment.
Moving on, we have a request for a closed session, General Statute 143/318.11.a/3 legal, and to include April Ham. Okay, no,
I think this one's separate.
okay, exclude April Ham, sorry about that. Do I hear a motion?
Move, Mr.
A motion here, second. Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand.
I'll be staying here, correct,
Staying
sir?
right here, yeah.